And with that, I'm going to welcome my friend and colleague and mentor, Mike Gregga. I am so happy to have you here today.
Thank you, Haley. I appreciate you having me.
Yeah, this is going to be an interesting talk given all of the other conversations we've been having so far today, because I think that workflows and operations directly impacts everything else in your business and your capacity to make money.
That's totally true. If I could just briefly introduce myself, my name is Mike Gregga, and I do operations consulting and business coaching, which is why Haley was just talking about processes and workflows and things like that. And I really firmly believe, Haley, that getting your processes nailed down, getting them smooth, doesn't necessarily have to be documented, but at least getting them nailed down is literally the key to profitability. It's the key to scalability. It is the key to having really joy in your business. And
Absolutely.
what I want to talk about today is perfectionism. If that sounds good to you, Haley.
Let's do it. You've got the stage.
Awesome. Thank you. So, as I said, my name is Mike Gregga. I do operations consulting, business coaching, and especially if you run a team, I can help you to fall in love with running your agency all over again with my winning workflows. And I just want to say that, if processes are something that are kind of tricky for you, I just want to tell you, processes are my love language. It's the form of my thoughts. It's the language that I think in. So processes for me are as natural as breathing. But today I want to ask you a very, very important question. And it's one that is kind of convicting of me too. And it's this: are you a perfectionist? Are you a perfectionist? And what I want to emphasize today is just a couple of key points, and that's that perfectionism prevents productivity. Perfectionism prevents productivity. You know what perfectionism also prevents? Profitability. You're not going to be productive if you're pursuing perfection. You're not going to be profitable if you're pursuing perfection. Now, I could tell you, for me, I am a perfectionist. I'm the typical Enneagram type 1, right? Like, perfectionism is in my blood. It's in my DNA. That's just how I kind of naturally do life. But it's something that I've had to really work on quite a bit and kind of Jedi mind trick myself a little bit into recognizing that no, perfection is not the goal. The goal, if you want to be productive, the goal, if you want to be profitable in your business, the goal, if you want to have any joy whatsoever in your business, if you want to have joy and satisfaction as an entrepreneur, here's your new rule. Throw out perfectionism. Here's your new rule. You ready? And if you're taking notes, this is what you want to write down. And this is all you need to write down. Minimum viable everything. Minimum viable everything. Now, I just want to tell you a little bit about my own story very, very briefly. I just want to tell you a little bit about my own story because it's the story really of a perfectionist in progress. A perfectionist in progress. I'm a work in progress myself. I fight against my own tendencies toward perfection. And I just really want you to know it's okay to struggle with that. Okay, there's nothing wrong with you. It's normal, it's natural, but just stop and think, is perfectionism serving you well? And this is really the struggle that I've gone through. This is really what I am going through, and I'm a continual work in progress. But growing up, I heard a lot, and you probably heard a lot too. Hey, if you're ever in a job interview someday, right? Your teachers in school or whoever, if you're ever in a job interview someday and they ask you, what's your biggest flaw? Here's the magic answer, they tell you. Say, my biggest flaw is that I'm a perfectionist. It's kind of like one of those things that you say is a flaw, but you know it's not really a flaw. It's a plus because, man, if I'm a perfectionist, that means I'm going to do great work, right? I'm going to do a great job. And when I was in high school, I really owned that. And as I went on job interviews, I actually gave that answer. And I really internalized that and I owned it. But you know what happens when you have a perfectionist mindset? Because I learned, and it went naturally with my own DNA because I'm an Enneagram 1, I'm a perfectionist by nature. I learned at that time that that was a good thing, that perfectionism was virtuous. I will suggest to you that it is not. One of the reasons why it is not is because it produces this all or nothing mindset. If it can't be perfect, screw it. I'm not going to do it at all. And that led me to drop out of college not once, but twice. And at that point, I realized finally, after twice, man, I really need to fix myself. And so what did I do? I strove for perfection. I joined the Marine Corps. I joined the Marine Corps as an intelligence analyst way back in 1999. And in fact, on September 11, 2001, I was in Kosovo. I was deployed. Scary times. But after dropping out of college twice, I joined the Marine Corps in an attempt to perfect myself. Right? So this is why I say the story of my adult life is the story of perfectionism. Well, the Marine Corps didn't sit well with me. I'm not great at taking orders, number one. And as you can see, you know, physical exercise is not necessarily my forte. So the Marine Corps, I did my 4 years and I got out. And then in my continued quest for perfection, I went back to school and obsessed over getting straight A's, but I had one B, and that one B still bothers me to this day. And then after I got my bachelor's degree, I went to seminary to study to be, you know, because at that time I had I began to have more of a religious bent to my life, even though I grew up in church and things, but I began to seek a religious form of perfection. You see, and I spent 4 years in seminary, learned to read, you know, ancient Greek, ancient Hebrew, learned all this about history, adult learning, so much knowledge and learning in a quest to perfect myself. And ultimately that didn't work out for me. So I went back to the intelligence community and I trained intelligence analysts for the better part of a decade for the US government. Fascinating journey for me. Lots of fun, but all along the way was this never-ending, anxious drive for perfection. Okay. I want to ask you, and I only tell that story because I'm well versed in the quest for perfection. I'm well versed in striving to be perfect, to do great, to be excellent. I get you. But I want to ask you this question, and this is one that I've had to learn to ask myself. Is perfection even possible? Is perfection even possible? Tell me in the chat, yes or no. Leave me a comment. Is perfection possible? We know it's not. It never is. We're striving for something that we'll never attain. We're striving for something we'll never get to. Well, let me ask you this question. Is perfection even necessary? Ask yourself this question. Do I need to be perfect in order to get results? If you're a marketer, do you need perfect copy to get conversions? No. Can copy always be improved? Yes. And in fact, you know, writing tends to be something that we're never really ultimately satisfied with. We tend to go back to it over and over again. If you're a copywriter, you know what I'm talking about. Even Stephen King put out second editions of his New York Times bestsellers, as a matter of fact. Perfectionism is everywhere, isn't it? But does it need to be perfect to get results? Sure, there's always room for improvement. You can always have a better conversion rate. You can always get leads for cheaper. Or if you're like Haley Gray, you can get leads for less than a dime. Wow, she's really good. But is it perfect? It's not yet perfect. There's always room for improvement. Perfection isn't possible. Perfection is also not necessary. It's not necessary to get results. You know this is true. Perfection is not necessary for results. You can still get a good result without being perfect. It's not the best result possible, maybe, but it's still good results. You can still get good results. So, as I mentioned earlier, the secret to productivity, you want me to tell you? The secret to profitability. Would you like to know? Would you like to know what the secret is to productivity? The secret to profitability? I'll tell you. It's this. And I learned this from a gentleman named Cameron Harold, who has been a COO of not one, not two, but 3 9-figure businesses. Brought them from 7 figures to 9 under his tenure as COO. And this is his rule. Minimum viable everything. You want to build an insanely profitable, insanely productive business? The secret is simple. Minimum viable everything. Throw away perfection. Done is better than perfect, right? Done is better than perfect. Data, not drama. Just get the task done. 80% solution, that's fine. Done is better than perfect. Use the data to help you improve, make it better. But just get that 80% solution out there, then continue to A/B test or whatever process you use to improve, to optimize. And I can help with that. But get that 80% solution out there. Done is better than perfect. Then let the data tell you how to improve. Data, not drama, right? We're not going to be emotionally attached to anything. We're just going to let the data drive the improvements, the optimization, the decisions. Data, not drama. Done is better than perfect. People over process. If you manage team members, don't demand perfection from them. They can't give it. Let me say that again. If you have team members, don't demand perfection from them. They can't get it. They can't give it. They can't provide it. Your team members, just like you, are also not perfect. So accommodate your weaknesses, accommodate their weaknesses, accept imperfection. Done is better than perfect. People over process. Results over perfection, right? Results over perfection. My friends, perfection is pointless. It's an unattainable goal, so it's terrible. It doesn't, if you talk to any productivity expert about what constitutes a good goal, they'll probably tell you something about SMART goals, but they'll tell you that the goal has to be realistic. It has to be something that you can attain. Perfection is not a goal you can attain to. Okay? Perfection is not possible. It's not necessary. Done is better than perfect. People over process. Perfectionism is pointless. Don't let yourself get sucked into the trap of perfectionism. It leads to an all or nothing mindset. It leads to a fragile, anxious kind of frantic energy. Scarcity, not abundance. Frantic, anxious instead of relaxed, calm, joyful. That's what we want to strive for in our business. We want to strive for calm, peace, joy, happiness, right? Fall in love with running your business again. One of the biggest steps you can take in that direction is to renounce forever perfectionism and to embrace imperfection, to embrace the maxim, done is better than perfect, to embrace minimum viable everything. And listen, if you object to that and you say, oh, you're just talking about cutting corners. I'm not just talking about cutting corners. I believe in excellence. I don't believe in perfection. High standards, but not impossible standards. I believe in having compassion on your team members, accommodating them, accommodating their weaknesses, and having compassion having compassion on yourself, accommodating your own imperfections and weaknesses. So I believe in high standards. I believe in giving your clients excellent service to get them the best possible results, but I don't believe in perfection. And why? Because you don't need perfection to get there. You can provide the best possible service to get your clients the best possible results without being perfect. You can. You're never going to get there on the first draft, right? But you will continue to optimize and improve and grow and be stronger and get better. So that brings us to the end of our little discussion on perfectionism. Remember, minimum viable everything. Perfection isn't possible. Perfection isn't necessary. And if you want to reach me, because I know, Haley, you're about to ask me, if you want to reach me, you can reach me on Facebook. Okay, Mike Gregga. All right, you can reach me on Facebook. Now, I'll warn you, there are a couple of other people named Mike Gregga on Facebook, so just look for this imperfect mug here in my profile picture. And I will tell you also that you can reach out to me to get my free, absolutely free delegation checklist to help you go through a checklist when delegating that will save you so many issues and problems and hassles as you go through the process of delegating tasks to your team members. So reach out to me for that, for the delegation checklist. You can simply send me a DM. You can also look me up on Linktree. It's Linktree. Just add a dot before the two E's at the end of Linktree / Mike Gregga. All one word. All right. Haley, where are you at?
There hiding in the background, so you can't find me.
Hello.
That is cool. Hello. Thank you for sharing this.
Thank you for
as an Enneagram, 8. I struggle with things a bit differently. I totally get what you're talking about the whole perfectionism and then holding your team members to an unfair, unattainable standard. So thank you for sharing that.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you for being here. I appreciate you so much. Thank you for stepping in today and being a speaker today. I really appreciate it. And this was a valuable presentation. Thank you. Everybody, let's give Mike a huge round of applause. Thank you, Mike, for being here today.
Thank you, Haley.
It's part of our WEN Talk, and you've already told us how to get in touch with you. So thank you. And I'm going to let you go now and let you disappear. And by the magic of